Hello guys and welcome to the BP Gaming Network. We are playing Out of the Park Baseball 19 featuring our Oakland Athletics franchise 2018 season. We're still chugging along. We're still moving forward. We are in June. We're towards the end of June, so today is June 28th. And, we're not performing the way we hoped we would, but I'll quickly show you guys how the month has been so far. As you can see, we had some hopes of turning the ship around when we started the month of June. We had a very challenging May. We lost a lot of games. As you can see, in some weeks we went an entire week without winning a single game. April was so-so. But May was a very tough month for us. I think we won 9 games out of the whole month. And so June was a little bit better. It wasn't as bad. We still have accumulated more losses than wins, but overall it has not been as bad as May was. Although the current trend, you can see we just played 3 games against the Detroit Tigers. We have a 4-game series against them, and we've lost the first 3 games. We have one more game left today, and we're going to show you guys that game. And then we finish off the month with a 3-game series against the Indians. That takes us into July. So that's kind of where we are at. Standing wise, we are still at the bottom of our standing in the American West Division. We currently have a win and loss record of 33-48, way below the 500 win percentage that we were hoping for. You could see Texas is in that number 4 spot, and then Seattle in the number 3 spot in our division, and the Angels in the 2nd spot, and the Astros number 1 in our division. So that's kind of where we're at in our division. As far as standings, we're last. And the struggle is basically across the board. I can show you guys here. If we take a look at just the overall stats. For offensively, we are pretty much almost dead last in our league. Our batting average is .244, which is really depressing. On-base percentage, terrible, .310, and we've got a slugging of 408, and OPS there, 719, which is good for 13th place in the American League. So really, I'm not going to go through all the stats. They're all depressing. There's no silver lining here as far as the stats offensively. Pitching-wise, we're probably slightly better as far as our standings against the league. We are 8th overall as far as ERA is concerned for our pitching staff. Our starters ERA is 4.86, which is good for 8th in the American League. And our bullpen is 4.29, which is good for 10th in the American League. So, yeah, as I go through that list there, really nothing exceptional. I mean, we've limited home runs, so we're number 1 in the American League for not giving up a lot of home runs, but that hasn't translated into winning, which is what at the end of the day it's all about. So that's kind of where things are at with the team as far as our standings. Let's take a look to see what kind of moves or transactions we've made so far since the last video. So I think from Sunday, June 24th, we sent Chad Pinder back down to AAA Nashville. Chad Pinder, although we like having him in the active roster because he's such a utility guy who can play multiple positions, he's just really been struggling, and we couldn't afford to keep him on. We needed to kind of shuffle things around. So we sent him back down to AAA Nashville on the 24th. And then yesterday, we sent Kendall Graveman back down to AAA Nashville just because he's been performing exceptionally poorly. No signs of improving. He's very inconsistent so far this year, and in both AAA and for the active roster for the major league. So there's concerns as to whether we should hang on to Kendall Graveman or if we should use him as a trade asset. And I'm more leaning towards using him as a trade in a trade. Just because, you know, he's got pretty decent potential. He's got good ratings, but it's not materializing on the mound. He's just not getting us the type of productivity we need from him as a starting pitcher. And in return, what we did is we called up Frankie Montas from AAA Nashville to the active roster major league team. So Montas is going to make his, he's not making his debut necessarily, but he's going to be making his debut for 2018 season for Oakland soon. So we brought him back up. And that's about it. That's all the major moves we've made since the last video. So we're going to get into it. We're going to move on and play out this game with the Tigers and see how things go for Oakland in this game. All right. So we're facing Jordan Zimmerman, who's a right-handed pitcher for the Tigers. And as a result, this is how we've set up our lineup. I might have to move things around here, so why don't I do this? So let's go into the actual lineup here where we can move things around. So what I want to do is I want to bring in Bruce Maxwell a little bit higher up to replace Marcus Semien. In that position, I want to bring Steve Lombardozzi to replace Marcus Semien in the lineup. And then let's see. So we're facing a right-handed pitcher. I'd like to stock up the team with a lot of lefties, and I think we've got everybody that we probably need. There's obviously other lefties we could have brought into the game, like Matt Joyce, but we need to give those type of guys a break right now. So I think I'm okay with this lineup. All right, so quickly walk you guys through the lineup here. We've got Dustin Fowler as the leadoff, and he's going to play center field. We've got Jet Lowry in the number 2 spot. He's going to play second base. Chris Davis will be in the number 3 hole, playing left field. Matt Olson will be our cleanup hitter, playing first base. He is slightly injured. He has a sprained knee. The damage is minimal, so we may have to pinch hit for him at some point. I probably wouldn't let him play the entire game. We got Steven Piscotty there in the number 5 spot. He's going to play in right field. And then I brought up Bruce Maxwell to the number 6 spot. He's a catcher tonight. We've got Trace Thompson. He's going to be in DH in the number 7 spot. And then in the number 8 spot, Steve Lombardozzi will play third base. And Marcus Semien, our shortstop, will be in the number 9 spot. All right, I think I'm satisfied with that. And yeah, so I already kind of just went through the stats, but I'll quickly glance over and just kind of show you guys how we match up against the Tigers. I would probably say their offense is playing a lot better than we are. If you take a look at the team, they are currently 3rd in their division. If you take a look at the batting average here, they've got a .263 batting average, which is good for 6th in our league. They got an on-base percentage of .321 and a slugging of .418. So if you compare that to Oakland, our batting average is .244, which is good for 12th, and our on-base is .310, which is good for 11th in the league. So not faring very well compared to their offense. If we'll take a look at pitching, though, I think we're pitching a little bit slightly better than they are. Their team ERA average is 4.80. Ours is 4.63. So, and we're in 8th spot in the American League. They're in the 10th spot in the American League as far as pitching. All right, so that's kind of just how things have played out so far for both teams. And with that, we will get this game started. Okay, so here we are, guys. We're at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. And it's a day game. And we'll introduce the defense for the Tigers. So catching will be James McCann. Jordan Zimmerman will be the starting pitcher. Miguel Cabrera will be in first base. Carlos Asuay will be in second base. Yamir Candelario will be in third base. Dixon Machado will be in shortstop. Nico Goodrum will be in left field. Leonis Martin will be in center field. And Mickey Matuk will be in right field. And the leadoff for Oakland will be Dustin Fowler facing Jordan Zimmerman. All right, and we are set to go here. It's 80 degrees, nice hot summery day. Dustin Fowler does exactly what I wanted him to do there, which is get on base. He comes up with a single to center field, and he's on base. So Jet Lowry is up to bat with Dustin Fowler on first. Nobody out for Oakland. So I'm going to try and get Dustin Fowler to see if we can get him to steal second. And with that, Zimmerman tries to hold him off by throwing the first. All right, Fowler tried to steal that, didn't get a good jump. Zimmerman throws to first again. The count is now 1-1. All right, so Fowler gets gunned down, trying to steal second, and he is set down. That's disappointing. Nevertheless, Jet Lowry comes up with a single to left field. He's on at first. Batting next is Chris Davis for Oakland with 1 out, 1 on. Chris Davis comes up with a hit single to left field. That advances Jet Lowry to second. So now we've got runners on first and second. And batting next is the lefty first baseman, Matt Olson. Matt Olson hits a ground ball to the first baseman, and they get the force out at second. So Matt Olson is on at first on a fielder's choice, and Jet Lowry is currently at third. Steven Piscotty batting next. Piscotty with a single to right field, and that scores a run. And that advances the runner to third, which is awesome. So Matt Olson is now on third. Piscotty takes on first. And now we've got the catcher, Bruce Maxwell, with 2 outs and 2 on.
Strike 3.
All right, so Maxwell is set down. That was a strikeout looking to the side, but Oakland is now on the board with a score of 1-0. Okay, so the bottom of the first inning will give us a chance to introduce the defensive positioning for Oakland. Sean Manaea will be the pitcher. Catching will be Bruce Maxwell. Matt Olson will be first base. Jet Lowry will be on second base. Steve Lombardozzi Jr. will be in third base. Marcus Semien will be in shortstop. Chris Davis will play in left field. Dustin Fowler will be in center field. And Steven Piscotty will be in right field. Leonis Martin is now leading off for Detroit with nobody on, nobody out. So he hits a short dribble to the pitcher, and he is retired at first. Carlos Asuay batting next for Detroit with 1 out. Swire with a double to center field. So runners on second with one out. Now Miguel Cabrera for Detroit. Okay, Cabrera gets on base via walk. Nicolas Castellanos batting next with runners on first and second. Alright, so Sean Manaea gives up his second walk, loading the bases. So the bases are loaded with only one out for Detroit. And batting next is the third baseman, Yemie Candelario.
Strike 3.
Okay, so he is set down via strikeouts. He strikes out looking. Now with two outs, bases are still loaded for Mickey Matuk, the right fielder for Detroit. And he grounds out to the shortstop, and he's retired. That ends the inning. Manaea manages to get himself out of trouble. And the score is still 1-0 Oakland. We go on now to the top of the second inning. Trace Thompson batting next. And he strikes out swinging. Steve Lombardozzi batting next with one out for Oakland. Lombardozzi flies out to center field. Marcus Semien with two outs, nobody on. And Semien, patient at the plate, gets himself a walk. So we got Semien at first base with two outs for Oakland. Batting next is the leadoff batter, Dustin Fowler. Looks like Fowler flies out to left field. Now retires the side. Oakland leaves one man on, and now we move on to the bottom of the second inning. James McCunn comes up with a single to center field. He's on at first. Dixon Machado with a run on first for Detroit.
Strike 3.
Machado strikes out swinging. He's set down. So now with one out, one on, Nico Goodrum, left fielder for Detroit, batting next. And Goodrum gets an infield hit. I guess they're going to score that as a hit. So he's on at first. McCann advances to second. So we've got runners on first and second with one out for Detroit. Leonis Martin grounds out to the second base, to the shortstop actually. And they get the force out at second. That still advances James to third base. Martin is now on at first on a fielder's choice. So we've got two out, and Carlos Aswai batting next for Detroit. Carlos flies out to left field, so Detroit leaves two men on base. And that's the inning is retired. We'll now move on to the top of the third. And the second baseman for Oakland, Jet Lowry, batting leadoff at the top of the third. Lowry hits it straight to the shortstop, and he is set down. Chris Davis batting next for Oakland with one out.
Strike 3.
Davis strikes out. He's set down. Matt Olson comes up next with two outs and nobody on. Matt Olson is going to fly out to right field, and that ends the inning. As we advance to the bottom of the third inning, Manaea pitching to Miguel Cabrera, and Cabrera flies out to shallow center. Batting next, Nicolas Castellanos for Detroit with one out, nobody on. Castellanos as well flies out to shallow center field. So Manaea is set down two at the bottom of the third. Jaime Candelario batting next with two outs. And he comes up with a double to left field. And he gets on base. So with 2 outs, Manai gives up a double. We've got a run on second. And now the right fielder, Mickey Matuk, batting next. Matuk comes up with a double, scoring double. And he's on at second. Now the score is tied, 1-1. James McCann, the catcher, facing Manai. McCann flies out to left field. That retires the side, ends the inning. And now, like I said, the score is tied. As we move on to the top of the fourth, Stephen Piscotty is the leadoff for Oakland. Piscotty comes up with a hit to right center field. It's a single. He's on at first, which brings on Bruce Maxwell with runners on first and nobody out for Oakland. So Maxwell strikes out looking. Trace Thompson, the DH, will bat next with a run on first and 1 out for Oakland. Thompson strikes out, swinging. And that brings in Steve Lombardozzi, the third baseman. Runners on first and 2 out for Oakland. Lombardozzi with a hit single to left field. That advances the runner to second. So Piscotty is on second. Lombardozzi is now on at first. Marcus Semien batting next, facing Zimmerman with 2 on and 2 out for Oakland.
Strike 3, you're out.
Zimmerman is too much for Semien as he strikes out swinging, retiring the side, and the inning is over. We'll now advance to the bottom of the fourth. Dixon Machado will be facing Sean Manai. Manai has given up 2 walks so far, and Dixon Machado hasn't had a hit to the game so far. So Machado will lead off with at the bottom of the fourth. Machado gets his first hit of the game. He's on at first, single to center field. That brings on the left fielder, Nico Goodrum. Nico will be batting with runners on first and nobody out for Detroit. And I believe that was a bunt, advancing the runner from first to second. And I manages to get the batter out at first. So now we have 1 out, 1 on for Leonis Martin.
Strike 3, you're out.
Manai strikes him out swinging. Now that makes it 2 outs with a run on second for the second baseman Carlos Aswai for Detroit. And Manai strikes out 2 batters in a row, retiring the side and ending the inning. And Detroit left a man on base. All right, so we'll move on to the top of the 5th inning. Dustin Fowler will be leadoff for Oakland. With the score tied, Fowler gets his second hit. He's 2 for 2 today. And he gets on base, so he's on at first. Nobody out. If you recall, Fowler was gunned down as he tried to steal second. And Jed Lowry now batting next for Oakland.
Strike 3, you're out.
Lowry strikes out. So that makes it 1 out, 1 on. Now Chris Davis batting for Oakland. Davis grounds out to the shortstop. They turn a double play. That retires the side. Inning is over. Miguel Cabrera to lead off for Detroit at the bottom of the 5th. The score is still tied 1-1. And Cabrera is set down via strikeout. Strikes out swinging. That makes it 1 out. Nobody on for Nicolas Castellanos, the DH for Detroit. And Castellanos comes up with a hit to center field. It's a hit single. He's on at first. And Jaime Candelario batting next with 1 out, 1 on. And he flies out to center field. And that retires the side. Now Mickey Matuk, the right fielder, facing Sean Manai with 2 outs. And he grounds out to the second baseman. They retire him, and that ends the inning. Now we'll move on to the top of the 6th inning. Matt Olson leading off for Oakland. Olson hits a ground ball to the third baseman, and they retire him at first. So with 1 out, nobody on, Steven Piscotty, the right fielder for Oakland, facing Jordan Zimmerman.
Strike 3.
Piscotty strikes out swinging. So now we've got 2 outs, nobody on, as the catcher Bruce Maxwell is up to bat. Maxwell gets on base with a single to center left field, and that keeps the inning going as Trace Thompson comes up to bat to face Jordan Zimmerman with Bruce Maxwell on at first. And the score is still 1-1. It looks like Thompson is going to fly out to left field. Oakland again leaves the man on as the inning is retired. Inning is over. Side retired, and we move on to the bottom of the 6th. James McCann, the catcher for Detroit, leading off for Detroit. McCann grounds out to the shortstop, and they retire him at first. Dixon Machado. It's a dribbler to the pitcher, who retires him at first. And now we've got Nico Goodrum with 2 outs, nobody on for Detroit. Goodrum hits it straight at the third baseman, and they retire him at first. So that retires the side. Inning is over. We'll move on to the top of the 7th inning with our score still 1-1. And it looks like Detroit is going to make a pitching change. They bring on the right-handed reliever, Alex Wilson. Wilson will now be facing Steve Lombardozzi as he leads off the top of the 7th for Oakland. Lombardozzi grounds out to the shortstop, and they retire him at first. And we're going to strategically start warming up a reliever. We will try to get, let's see, we've got nothing but right-handed relievers. So it doesn't really matter. We'll bring in, we'll try to get Daniel Gorsett warming up. Marcus Semien comes up with a hit single to right field. Now he gets on base at first. And Dustin Fowler is on to bat, facing Alex Wilson with 1 out, 1 on for Oakland. Marcus Semien steals second. Gets a beautiful jump and steals second base. So now we've got a runner in scoring position as Dustin Fowler is still batting. Fowler with a double or triple to center field. Okay, that'll be a double to center field that scores a run. So a run scoring double for Dustin Fowler. And it appears that Oakland has taken the lead 2-1. We now hear that Dustin Fowler may have been in pain. He appears to be slightly injured. It's not too bad. He will remain in the game. So Dustin Fowler maybe now nursing a slight injury. Nonetheless, Oakland take the lead here, which is awesome. Still have a runner on in scoring position, actually. And batting next, Jed Lowry. Lowry grounds out to the shortstop. They retire him at first, but that advances the runner, Dustin Fowler, to third. So with runners on third, Chris Davis will come to bat with 2 outs, 1 on for Oakland. Davis hits a pop fly, and that retires the side, and the inning is over. We now move on to the middle of the 7th inning for the 7th inning stretch. Alright, so Leonis Martin is going to come up to lead off for Detroit at the bottom of the 7th. Sean Manai is still pitching. And we've got Daniel Gosset in the bullpen warming up. So Manai sets down Martin. Carlos Aswae comes up and he grounds out to the first baseman, and he's set down as well. Miguel Cabrera comes up and hits a ground ball to the third baseman. They retire him, retiring this side, and the inning is over. We now advance to the top of the 8th. So outstanding work for Sean Manai. He's pitched over 100 pitches. And as a result, we're now going to warm up a setup guy in anticipation of hopefully closing out this game. So Matt Olson is going to come up to bat, but like I had said, I wasn't going to allow him to play an entire game. So we'll see if we can bring in a pinch hitter for Matt Olson. Just because of his ongoing injury, I would rather give him a break here. So we brought up Renato Nunez to replace Matt Olson. Nunez normally plays third base, but he'll play first base in this game. He's capable of playing first. So he's leading off at the top of the 8th, facing Alex Wilson. Nunez. It's a fly ball and caught by the second baseman, and he's retired. So with 1 down, Steven Piscotty comes up to bat. Piscotty comes up with a hit single to center field. He gets on base. So now Oakland have a run on first, and the catcher Bruce Maxwell will come in to bat. We're still 1 out. So Alex Wilson gives up a walk. Bruce Maxwell will get on base. Piscotty will advance to second. So now we've got runners in scoring position, and we've got Trace Thompson, who's not managed to get a hit so far into this game, batting next. But because he's a lefty and he's facing a righty, we're going to see if we can switch this up to try and give ourselves a slight advantage here. So I'm going to bring in a lefty. I'm aware that they might also make a pitching change, but we will take our chances. So Matt Joyce is brought in to pinch hit for Lambadozzi. I'm sorry. He's been brought in to pinch hit for Trace. And Joyce is hit by a pitch, so he gets on base automatically. The bases are now loaded. Detroit is still putting their faith on Alex Wilson to continue pitching as we bring in the third baseman, Steve Lambadozzi. So Lambadozzi has a great opportunity here to increase the lead for Oakland. He's got the bases loaded with only 1 out and still facing Alex Wilson. Alex Wilson does look to be exhausted, but nonetheless, oh yes, Lambadozzi comes up with a hit single that scores a run for Oakland. That increases the lead to 3-1. Bases are still loaded. Matt Joyce at second, Maxwell at third, and Lambadozzi at first. And now we've got the shortstop, Marcus Semien, still facing Alex Wilson with 1 out and 3 on. Bases loaded for Marcus. And Marcus Semien flies out to left field. It was a bit shallow, not far enough to advance the runner from third. And that's Bruce Maxwell, who's a slow runner anyway. Nonetheless, Dustin Fowler is now batting next with bases still loaded and 2 outs, though, this time for Oakland. Fowler comes up with a run-scoring single to right field. We've got an opportunity now to make a decision. Do we want to advance Matt Joyce and try to get him to score? The ball is very shallow. Joyce is a slow runner, and Mickey Matuk has a great arm. No, we will not take the chance because we've got a good hitter coming up. Jet Lowry is a lefty facing the right-handed relief pitcher Alex Wilson. Not sure what's happening. Detroit is still not making a move to replace Alex Wilson. So anyway, bases are still loaded for Oakland with 2 outs and 3 on. The score is now 4-1. Lowry comes up with a single to right center field. Now we have a decision to make. Do we want Steve Lombardozzi to round third and score? The ball is very shallow. Lombardozzi is an average runner. Martin has a cannon of an arm. Chris Davis will be coming up next, so we're going to hold off. I mean, we've got a pretty good lead right now. And what we're going to do is get Yasmiro Petit also warming up. So we're going to try and protect this lead. Yeah, so things are looking good. Bases are still loaded. We got Chris Davis, the power hitter, in that number 3 spot, facing Alex Wilson. And this is another tremendous opportunity for Oakland. Davis. Yes. Comes up with a single to left field. Tried to score 2 runs, but we were gunned down and retired. Oh, 1 runner. That was exciting. So we managed to advance our lead to 6-1, which is tremendous. I mean, I'm excited. So Renato is going to play first base, and we're going to bring in Lou Trevino. Actually, why don't I give Manai? Let's give Manai another chance to. I know he's got 100 pitches so far, but look at him. He manages to induce a fly out to retire the batter. That was Castellanos. Now we've got Candelario facing Manai. We're at the bottom of the 8th. So Manai is so far going through 7 1/3 innings. And Manai induces a ground ball against Candelario, who is retired at first. Manai looks to be tired, but let's see if he can close out this inning. No, he can't. He gives up a single to Matuk. And that's going to be it for Manai, which means we can bring in Yasmiro Petit. So Manai, so we just made a pitching change. We've sat Manai down after an excellent job. He went 7 2/3 innings, but he couldn't complete the 8th inning. So we've now made a pitching change. We've got our right-handed pitcher there, reliever Yasmiro Petit, to face James McCann. So McCann comes on with 2 outs. He grounds out to the third baseman. They set him down, retiring the side. That inning is over. So we will now move on to the top of the 9th inning, and we will get our closer warming up. they still have Alex Wilson out there. Renato Nunez comes into bat and he hits a grounder to the pitcher. They set him down. Piscotty facing Wilson. Wilson hits Piscotty. Piscotty will now get on base automatically. Wilson gives up another walk. And now Matt Olson comes up, the DH. Sorry. Yes, Olson, Matt Joyce, sorry, not Matt Olson. Matt Joyce batting next to Oakland with 1 out, 2 on. And he hits into a double play. No. Looks like they only get the force out at second. Piscotty may have been slightly injured, but he will stay in the game. So Matt Joyce is now on base on a fielder's choice with runners on first and third with 2 outs. Lamadozzi. And he grounds out to the third baseman. They get the force out at second. The inning is over. We now move on to the bottom of the 9th inning. And we're going to try and give Yasmira Petit another chance to get Dixon out.
Strike 3, you're out.
Yasmira Petit does a job. He sets down Dixon Machado via strikeouts. So now there's 2 more batters left for Detroit. And this game would be a wrap. So Nico Goodrum comes up with 1 out. Nobody on for Detroit. And Goodrum flies out to left field. He's set down. So now it's down to the last batter for Detroit, Leonis Martin. The lead is 6-1 with 2 outs. And nobody on for Detroit. Petit is still pitching. Oh, what a catch by the center fielder, Dustin Fowler. Robs Leonis Martin of a hit. That ends the game. We didn't even need to bring in our closer. Yasmira Petit did the job. So there you have it, guys. You got to watch an exciting game. Oakland wins this one 6-1. Yeah. Outstanding pitching by Sean Manaea. Manaea went 7 2/3 innings. Gave up 8 hits and only 1 run, 1 earned. He also gave up 2 walks and had 5 strikeouts. Yasmira Petit came in and pitched in 1 1/3 innings. Did not give up a single hit, no runs, no walks, had only 1 strikeout. So, pitching wise, it was an excellent performance. Offensively, Dustin Fowler had a double in the 7th inning off of Alex Wilson. And that was one of the big moments of the game. A few other guys did contribute. Stephen Piscotty went 3 for 4. Chris Davis was 2 for 5. Jet Lowry was 2 for 5. And Fowler was 4 for 5. Also, Lamadozzi was 2 for 5. So, all in all, a great performance for Oakland. We got that win. That was exciting to see and watch. Looks like we've been hit with a low achievement here. Dustin Fowler, who goes 4 for 5 with 2 doubles, 2 RBIs versus the Tigers. All right, so that was exciting to see Oakland come through victorious. And hope you guys enjoyed that video. So we still got a few games left to play in this month of June. Like I said, we've got a 3 game series against the Indians, which will take us into July. And then we'll see what July has in store for us. So at the end of the month, before we embark on a new journey in July, we will do a minor league review, or our end of the month minor league assessment. We'll take a look at our top prospects and see how they're performing or how they're coming along and we'll do a quick rundown of the minor leagues and see, which players deserve to be promoted and which players should be demoted, and so on. So that's about it. Appreciate you guys watching, and hope to see you guys on our next video. Thank you.